Yes, and welcome to Football Heritage TV. This is the What Are We Doing Here podcast. Oh, I've got an echo. So I just wanted to just check, guys. Today we're doing something a little bit different, a little bit of a surprise. Can you hear me first of all? Because my mic decided to completely break on itself just before going live, so I've had to stick with this headset. So I look like a guy from a call center. But look, big up to you all watching. Let's get into it. Look, the link is in there for members only. In the members chat, there should be a link if you want to come in and just have your say whatever you want. There's enough to talk about. We've got talk of Daniel Levy's left the club. Daniel Levy's gone. Kane might be returning. And Vinay Venkatesham put out a very, very interesting interview today, which I listened to just before we went live. And I'm impressed by him. He speaks really well, Vinay. And I said, if you guys want to come on, I'd love to have a little chat with anyone. Anyone wants to come on, welcome to. Big up to everybody in the chat. Big up to you all. How's everyone? International break is so boring. So I am thankful for you all coming in and getting involved. Big up to Anthony Mayo. Concentrate what goes on the field of play. Worry about things off the field when they actually happen. I agree. I think the whole takeover stuff, everyone's getting really excited. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. I think it's in the pipe works, but not anytime soon. Shouldn't be a distraction for players. Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any resonance to the players or the staff or anything like that. I don't think it will do. Big up to yourself, my man. Big up Finn Rickwood. How are you doing, my friend? If you want to come on, you're a member. Welcome and get involved. That'd be brilliant. Big up David. How you doing? Good evening, all. Hope you're well. Great Spurs from Cornwall. Bit of love, Cornwall. I've been in ages, but Cornwall's lovely. Big up to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, look, members, come on. If you want to jump on, always welcome. Good evening to John Howard. Big up to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Big up to Enetta. Is that it? It is me. Sava's still on holiday. I mean, Sava's international break holiday has been brilliant, right? He has gone on holiday whilst Daniel Levy's left. Irony is brilliant. When Sava goes on holiday, big news happens. Just saying, it is what happens, man. Big up to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Big up Brian Maguire. Hope you're doing well. Thank you very much. Yeah, no sound. I'm hoping the sound was good. I was just getting a little bit worried that there was going to be a problem with it because the mic the cable decided to snap on itself whilst I was trying to go live. Not helpful. Richest man, evening to you, my man. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Big up Jack Spurs. Hope you're doing well, my man. Hope you're doing well. Sava's still on holiday, by the way. He's not back yet. He's still on holiday. Yeah, I mean, Phil, I know I'm the better looking one on the What Are We Doing Here podcast, my man. I'm just saying. Just saying. John George says, Sava in, Perchy out. Nah. Mate, no chance. But Sava, back to normal, will be back. I think he's back Wednesday or Thursday, one of the two. He'll be back this week. Kane coming back. Look, we can probably start on that from Alan. I think some people are saying no to Kane. We've moved on and he ditched us. I don't think it's like that. I think it was right for him to go at the right time. Guys in the chat, like on a serious point, let's have this conversation about Harry Kane. And again, any members that want to jump on, please jump in. The link is in the members only chat in the community page. So if you want to get involved, get involved. So yeah, look, guys. Thanks for the introduction. It's very kind of you all. Let's talk Harry Kane. Let's start with Harry Kane, and we'll talk about Daniel Levy. We'll talk about Enic. We'll talk about Vinay and all this lot going forward. I'm torn with the whole Harry Kane thing. I think as a football club, will we want to get him back? Maybe to solidify what we didn't complete with Harry Kane? Possibly. Do I think we should be getting Harry Kane back is a different question, right? That for me is the different question. Should Harry Kane be returning? I don't know. I simply don't know, because I think, should we be getting the next Harry Kane over getting Harry Kane? That's the question, right? That is the real question. Big up Money Mates. How you doing, well, man? At times better the devil you know. Yeah, no, I think that's a good point on that as well. Big up Paul Brown. Hope you're doing. I'm good. I'm all right, mate. Thank you very much. Hope you're doing good yourself. So I want to know your questions. There's also another one about an ex-Spurs player in Dele Alli, because there's a lot of talk about him returning to Wales with Wrexham. Thoughts on that? That'll be interesting. Big up Alan. Personally, I'd say we could win the league with. I'd say could win the league. Yeah, look, I think Tottenham have all the hallmarks to go and win the league, right? I'm assuming you mean if we signed Harry Kane, we could go and win the league. I think Spurs have the nucleus to go and be a top team, right? I don't think anyone debates that. The problem is the bigger clubs are more established. We've got to get to that establishment, right? We've got to be the establishment in that sense. The Man Cities, the Arsenals at the moment, the Liverpools, in that sort of those three teams at the moment that are leading the way. Chelsea are getting in that conversation. If you keep buying good players, right? Who knows? Who knows? Do you reckon Levy will sell his part in the club? I think Daniel Levy's part in the club will go when Enic sell. Daniel Levy doesn't own part of the football club. He owns part of the company that owns the football club. It is slightly different. It is the same. It amounts to the same thing, but it is not the same thing, right? So I think when Enic sell Tottenham, and they will at some point, there will be a way that they get out. He will offload his shares with that. That's my thinking, Dominic. Good question, though. Good question. Big up the Boomverse. Big up Perchy and all. Levy is out. He is. We can't even say Levy out anymore because Levy is already gone. Big up Corey, mate. If you want to come on, the link is in there. If you want to come on, my man, welcome to. Perchy, do you still have your channel? Or Brian, for me, I'll be honest, I haven't got time really for my channel. And if I'm not going to do my channel properly, I won't do it at all. I've always lived by that mantra. For me, it is a lot of time, a lot of effort to go into doing a YouTube channel. I don't think people realise how long it does take to get involved in that stuff. So no, not really. But I'm just enjoying doing what I'm doing at the moment. I'm working. I like doing these sort of shows as well, weekly shows, because I think I feel like these weekly shows allows me to express my opinions whilst not doing it every 5 minutes. But yeah, big up to you, my man. Yeah, no. Big up Blue, Evening Perchy. Anyone watch Vinay's interview? He talks a good game. Let's see. I thought Blue's a good point, right? It's a really, really good point. I thought Vinay spoke really well. For me, the one thing I'll agree with the whole Vinay thing, and we'll get into it a bit more in depth than what he did say, was transparency for me is the key bit. The whole transparency is, we're starting to see more transparency with the football club. We're starting to see the football club actually talking to us as a football club, right? I think that's the really, really important thing. There's that barrier has lost where we haven't had for a while, Blue, is you'd have the football club and then the fans, and that bridge wasn't really any. It always seemed to come down to managers in interviews having to bridge the gap, which I didn't think was very fair. I think Vinay talks a game. The one thing he's very good at is PR. Now, he was very good at PR at Arsenal, and there was a lot of Arsenal fans that begrudged him. Let's see what he can actually physically impact. That's what I want to see, personally. That's what I want to see. Put that back there. Sava is Levy and Perchy is Vinay. Yeah, why not? He talks well. I try. Maybe that me talking well. I take Harry Kane back. Yeah, look. If Harry Kane was to come back, I'm not going to complain about it. JB has said no to Kane. If he wanted the record, he should have stayed like he did, like we did. I don't think it works as simple as that. I think Kane wanted to go to be successful, right? And I think he has every right to be successful. So I think I don't blame him for leaving, to be honest. Not for me. I think that's short-sighted, my man. But look, each to the road opinions, right? Savra's in Turkey at the moment, Gareth. He's in Turkey. Hart says yes. Mine says no on Harry Kane. Yeah, I think that's a good. I think that's a fair point. I think Head says yes. Mine says no. Look, I think if you can go and look, the question will be: let's just use a player right now that is maybe 24. Is there thinking of a striker at 24, 25 at the top of his game right now, and you go, do you go and bring in? I'm trying to think of a name right now that you go, okay, boom, get him in. Like maybe not the same position, but of a top player at the moment playing at the top level. You bring someone like that in to be the next Harry Kane, or do you bring back a 30-year-old, 32-year-old Harry Kane for the Swan Song? I don't know. I'm on the edge. I'm not for nor against. Maybe got splinters up my ass. Not sure about Kane coming. It would be to come the Kane show and helping him. Do you know what? I think that's a good point, right? I don't think it's as black and white as that. Enter Anita. If that's is it Anita, is that how you say it? I get what you're saying though. I think Kane would help us win league titles though. He's that good, right? Who will be the next Harry Kane? It's a good question, right? There's not many Harry Kanes that grow up, right? There's not many, so it's a very, very good point. Anyone? Dele Alli's going to West Brom. Is that true? I saw somewhere that he was. I read somewhere that he's going Wrexham. Could be wrong. Richarlison and Solanke and Tell and Johnson versus Harry Kane. Yeah, look, I mean, you know my thoughts. I think Harry Kane is superior to all of those players, of course. But it's a different. The problem is you can't just naturally replace a Harry Kane, right? You've got to do all you can. Give buying Richarlison and Solanke and 50 million. Look, I think Kane with 2 years left on his contract, he will be looking to go elsewhere. For me, I've stood by it. Harry Kane's next move will be the MLS. That's my food for thought. Let me know what you guys. I think the MLS would have a Harry Kane for 3 or 4 years at 33, and he will tear it up there. My thoughts. But let me know. Let me know. Purchase content in Bilbao was lit. Yeah, I love Bilbao. It's good. I don't think it was that great. Everyone went really over the top about it. It wasn't all that, was it? Just me singing about Brennan Johnson after we won it. I'll be honest, it was emotional, man. Can you get Sean on? I'll send him a message and say if he wants to. I'll ask him. Your wish is your command. I'll send Sean a message right now if he wants to join. I think he's probably a bit busy. They've got the Spurs 5 later on, so I assume he's a little bit busy. But I'll pop him a message. I'll pop him a message. If he's free, if anyone wants to come on, any one of these guys can come on, more than welcome. We need a striker like Voldemort. Why? I don't get that one. Am I missing something? Yeah, anytime, mate. If you want to come on, the link's there. If you want to jump on. Yeah, JBS good. I couldn't think of a name, but Isak's a good example, right? He's at the right age, going to that next massive level. You want to go and get an Isak before he's at Newcastle. So when he was at Sociedad, that was the time to go and get the next player. You just got to find that next player before the player comes to the Premier League. But it's a good point. It's a good point. Loan. Let me see any more ones. After watching Kane the other night, Kane comes over would not cope with the pace. I don't agree, Lynn. I'll be honest. I don't agree. I think Harry Kane is that good. He doesn't need to. Well, I think we worry so much about the pace. It's not having to go you. Big up to you. I think we worry so much about the pace of the game and all this, that, and the other. I'm not sure. I don't think Kane would, because Kane would come in and he would let the wide players do all the running. He'd let the he'd either play deeper and let the other striker do all the doggy work, and he'll just get that ball, go, cool, give me the box in the 6-yard box and I'll score. So I think you could build around Harry Kane's qualities without his pace. Kane never really had that burst in pace. Yeah, that's what I mean. I think Kane would have all the support he would need there. Sav's on the phone with Dan and Lubo. Lobo is Lubo. Don't know what that means. Sava is on holiday. Did you like Spurs winner? Can you give top? Can we get top 6? Look, I've always stand by the whole top 6 argument, David. I think it's a good question, right? Can we? Sure we can. The question is are we going to be consistent enough? Was Bournemouth flash in the pan? Was it a performance where you go, oh, we ain't going to do that again, we were shit? Or are we going to come back and go, okay, we're going to lose a couple, or we're going to win the next 2? Now, you go and win the next 2, you don't really worry about Bournemouth, right? You don't really worry about Bournemouth. Oh, Sean O'Mac wants to come on. I've got to find the link for Sean. He wants to come on. Sean, I'm going to send it to you now, my man. Hang on, bear with me. Shawnee boy does want to join. Why not? I can't find the link though. I'll have to send the link to my link to Sean. Bear with me, guys. Just 1 second. Let me do this. I can't. I'm awful at multitasking, so I do apologise. Sean is saying he wants to come along, so I'm going to pop him the link now. Now my computer's decided just to run as slow as living possible. Just 1 second. Let me have to send it this way because I can't seem to get it up on my phone. The thing. I'll just get this link over to Sean, and then we'll be carrying on. So, yeah, as I was trying to get that on. Do I think we'll get top 6? Look, I don't see why we can't. That's the whole point for me is I don't see why we can't. We're because I think we've got a good enough squad. The key bit for me though is how do we bounce back? I think having that defeat when we do, can we bounce back? Look, we're lucky we're playing West Ham next, and I think West Ham are terrible at the moment. So for me, getting a West Ham on the bounce back will be great. Whoever's jumped in the back, camera must be on. I won't let anyone on unless you've got your camera. I'm just saying that is the rules. And have something to say as well. That'd be wicked if you can. Yeah, so look, can we get top 6? I don't see why not. Percy, I don't see why not. That would be but consistency, right? I stand by it, David. You're playing in the Champions League, right? Once you're playing in the Champions League, that's crucial. That's going to be the one how it is. If you do, if you do get Sean on, ask him. I'll hold this. If he's on his way, I'll pin this one, and I'll ask him that one. I'll let him ask. He can answer the tell questions. I'm not. Big up Alfie. Harry Kane is the biggest scapegoat in the world. Not just defending him because I'm a Spurs fan, but seriously, fans moan at him when he drops deep for England, and now moan he did. No, look, I think it's a bit harsh on the Harry Kane. It's hard when you're playing against teams like Andorra. By the way, I think people just look at the opposition and go, "Oh my God, we're crap that we can't beat." Like, go and batter an Andorra. The problem is for me with Harry Kane against these teams, you've got to have pace and cause a bit of dynamism. If we're going to talk about England for a second here, big up Alfie for it. I'm just not that impressed at the moment with Thomas Tuchel. I was when he first joined, but I'm not massively overwhelmed. I'm not overwhelmed by him, if I'm honest. I just don't think it's going to work. But the thing is that someone like a Thomas Tuchel, though, is the sort of guy that if we're at the World Cup, I could see him winning it up for us. I don't think we're going to sit there and go, "Oh my God, we're phenomenal." But I do think he will. I do think he'll make us better. Like, he will make us very, very hard to beat. So I can see it from that perspective as well, right? Are you on Sava? Get back to holiday stuff and you're sunning it out in Turkey. Turkey. Oh, sorry, Perch. I meant Voldemort. Sorry. When you said Voldemort, I was like, oh my days. I was like, who's this? I'll tell you what. Nick Voldemort is a weird one. I was saying this the other day with some people going, oh, he's going to be crap. And some people saying, oh, he's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be one of the other, right? I think it's a good point with not Voldemort. I think he's one of those that will go, oh my God, you're going to be sensational, or you're not going to work. I feel like there's no middle ground with him. I'm really excited to see how this guy plays because he's technically very good, but he is built like Peter Crouch. Big up, Lisa. How are you? And good evening to yourself. Hope you're doing well. Sava having a good holiday. Sava, you having a good holiday? Big up to me. Tan game. Football Tanatage TV is happening, man. Big up, man. Enjoy your holiday, man. Who we got? Thomas Tuchel was meant to be a saviour and go. I was like, I can't see him. Look, Alfred, I think the one thing with Thomas Tuchel is, though, and I mentioned it just a moment ago, is I think Tuchel is the sort of manager that you want in a tournament, right? We'll see what this guy's like in a tournament because he'll drag us over the line and get us when we need to win those big games. He will find a way to do it. Oh, Phil Coy. Pure Coy. It's not Phil Coy. It's Pure Coy. Nige, man. How you doing, man? Nige, if you want to come on, mate, give me a shout. I'll pop you the link over to you, my man. I haven't seen you. I haven't spoken to you in ages, Nige. Hope you're doing well, my man. Hope your channel's doing well. Make sure everyone is subscribing, by the way, to Nige's Pure Coys. Lovely bloke, man. Big up, Nige. Hope you are well. What are we doing? What are you doing here on your own podcast? Love it. That's quality. I like that one. Oh, big up Eugene. How you doing, man? You can't use hashtag Levy out. It doesn't work anymore. You've got to use a new hashtag. Big up to you. Hope you're doing well, my man. Finally, the hashtag can be rest in peace to the hashtag. Hope you're doing well, my man. Yeah, look, let's talk about Daniel Levy departing the football club. When the news came, I was on the way to my nan's, by the way, and that if anyone's travelled in and around London, out of London, the signal just comes in and goes. I was on the train, and like my phone started pinging, But then I lost signal for a couple of minutes, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like I couldn't open like WhatsApp, nothing was opening, and then I suddenly got a bit of signal, and then it was ding, 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 ding. Like everyone's going, Levy's gone, Levy's out, Levy's gone. This. Have you seen the news? Have you seen it? And I'm going, whoa, this is mental. And just helped himself onto his channel. Like you think, Sava?
I can't hear you.
Can't you hear me? You need to sort your settings out. You know?
Audio.
Gosh, it's like he comes onto his own channel, thinks he runs the place. Is anyone else?
I can't hear you.
You need to change your settings. Wait, hang on. Everyone else can hear you, by the way.
Is switched on to you?
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Perchy, can you hear me?
Yes.
I can't hear you.
Everyone can hear you.
Hang on.
Come out and come back in, mate. While Sava's fixing that, yeah.
Testing. No.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Us. Turn your volume up on your mic. Hey, Sean.
Get rid of that bozo. Let the real champ take over.
He can't hear us at the moment. We can hear him. We can't hear the bozo.
Perchy, boot me out. Boot me out.
Easy. Yeah, Sean, substitution. Sava out, Sean in. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I'm really good. Look, I think the international break came at the right time, and then all the news happened. I was just talking about the moment we all heard about the whole Levy. This is like the first time I've sat and talked about the whole Levy stuff being Levy going. I was like, it was mad. I was on the train, and have you ever travelled on the trains into London? Like you have immediate signal, and then you have nothing for like 5 minutes. Like it just cuts completely. It says you got 5G, everything, but nothing. And I got messages, and I was going, I can't open them. What's going on? I don't know what's happening here. And then literally it was ding, 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 ding. Levy's out, Levy's out. It was going nuts. And look, I wanted to sort of talk, and it'd be good to get your perspective on it because you are the Levy, the chairman fanboy, as everyone likes to call you. Welcome to that. I'm only joking. I know.
Purveyor of balance and
holder
of accountability. I like to think. Yes. If there's logical fallacies on the cards, then I'm going to call them out. You know, that's all I do.
You need the professor of truth and accountability is your like tagline now. Yeah, look, I think he just helps himself on. Can he hear us now?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, Sava. Welcome. How's Turkey?
It's good. Look, I'm on a bed. I'm on a massive bed. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, he just can't keep away from the limelight. He loves it all. He loves it. But look, I want to. I'm trying to get the hook in there. Look, big up, guys. As I said, I was just sort of saying, like, Daniel Levy's gone, like, and you guys have obviously spoken about it on Spurs 5, but obviously it's the first time I've really spoken about it. But I wanted to sort of, what happens next? Because everyone's sort of jumping for joy, but now we've got to that stage now where everyone's kind of going, right, it looks like on the face of it, if we're all to believe what's being said, that the Lewis family are wanting to take a massive step forward with the football club and not necessarily sell like everyone immediately thinks. They could sell. Look, Sean, I'll come to you. Like, do you think they're going to sell, or do you think this is just they're kind of saving face, so to speak, to say they can't literally go, oh, we're going to sell the club? Like, where do you see it now?
Are you actually going to little bro Sava on his own channel, mate? Like,
I'm in charge. I'm in charge. 100%. Little broing.
Yeah.
It's not my channel until Thursday. It's Perchy's until Thursday.
Mate, I think it's the biggest. Listen, obviously, I don't know what's going on. I don't think anyone really does. But if you were to, I tried to explain this earlier, right? Like without trying to sound conspiratorial and tinfoil hat. when you look at the various reports that have come out from Matt Law and the Telegraph, from the geezer at the Times Sport, from the guy at Sky News, Rob Andrew, all of these different reports are suggesting a whole bunch of different stories, but they all align more with the story that Daniel Levy was essentially blackballed. He was essentially sandbagged here. And that there's a lot of people that are coming out that are like people that, you know, Johnny and I know that have got connections to the club, and they're saying, no. The relationship between the Lewises and the Levys, they're tight as ever. You know, it's all fine. There's no disharmony here. And that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I say, I don't know. I've got no idea. But if I'm just someone who's looking at the information that an ITK couldn't provide me or didn't provide me, and I'm just looking at the things in the order in which they have came about from December until now, it screams to me like the Lewises are, I mean, forget about like what's happening with the future with investment and takeovers and all that stuff for a second. It screams to me like the Lewis children are trying to throw Daniel Levy under the bus and pretending like the lack of ambition or whatever it was that wasn't being shown was essentially at his feet and not theirs. And that now they're trying to say, and that you've just seen the announcement from Binay, that video saying, you know, the Lewises are going to back the club, they want the bet, all this stuff. And then at the same time, you get other rumours of 100 million quid coming in January, like that's going to placate people or going to move the needle. That doesn't move the needle. It doesn't pay for, it doesn't even replace the money that the club has taken out of the football operations to pay for the various properties over the last few years, right? So to me, it feels like the Lewis children are trying to get themselves on side from a PR perspective in the intermittent period between whatever might happen in the future with some sort of takeover. But in so doing, they are the story can't make sense. It doesn't make sense if Daniel Levy was aware of it the whole time. So either he wasn't aware of it and those rumors are true that he's been blackballed as like a lot in the last moment, or he was aware of it. But either way, if he was aware of it, the way that the PR is going here is suggesting that he is essentially the fall guy for what is a reputation management process that's going through right now in the intermittent period between whatever is happening with Staveley, and I know she's walked away from the full takeover. But to me, it comes across like Levy's being thrown under the bus, and I think it looks like they're trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. Like over the last 25 years, it was Daniel Levy that was stopping money coming in. Bullshit. If those Lewis children wanted to put more money in before now, they could have spoken to their dad. They could have lent into more of that narrative than they have. And the fact that they're now saying there's no intention to sell and we want to back the club and all that stuff, 100 million quid doesn't move the needle. And I just think it's a PR exercise for me. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, no, look, Sava, what are your thoughts on it? Because I think you've also put something in the chat, but
I didn't mean to put that in there. Apologies. I don't. There's a little button on my phone that's like a little dollar sign. So I thought, what happens if I press that? And apparently that happens. So
I'm not sure what it was. It was like I think you were putting a promotion for anyone who wanted to use StreamYard, so you can get $10 back or something like that. But
yeah,
no, I think Sean makes
He spent too much money on margaritas out there, and he's trying to get a content, trying to make it back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think Sean makes a really good point though. Like, and it was Daniel Levy the devil that everyone is portraying him as. Or do the Lewis family have to take a level of accountability because they are the purse strings? They put the budgets. If the Lewises wanted to go and say, go on, we want you to go and win it all. Here's the money. Go and buy the top players. So there's got to be a level of balance on that, right?
Yeah, listen, I agree with what Sean was saying there. I think what we're about to do is we're about to find out, and by about, I mean, it's going to be over a period of about a year, right?
Sure.
If they completely start operating differently now, and I'm talking about top players coming in every window, then you got to turn around and go, well, hang on. So this was a Lewis family directive, not a Levy directive. Now that doesn't mean that Daniel Levy wasn't bad at other things, but it's almost as though if they do start investing massively, is it that they just didn't trust Daniel Levy with that level of money, which would be very strange after 25 years? But I listen. I was actually talking to the wife about this a little while ago. We was saying it all
She's so
depends.
excited.
Yeah. We've been talking.
Needs a
Levy,
lot of work, Sav. Your foreplay needs a lot of work, mate.
yeah, it's foreplay talking about Daniel Levy. But we're saying it all depends on what side of the fence you sit on. If you are somebody that just hates Daniel Levy unequivocally, right? If you are somebody that everything is his fault, oh my God, one of the taps doesn't work in the toilets at the stadium, Daniel Levy. If you're that guy or girl, then it doesn't matter. It's all Daniel Levy.
Sure.
Let's see if they operate differently now. Then you have to take a little step back and go, well, okay, well, maybe it wasn't all Daniel Levy is bad, but people will still paint it that way anyway, right? People will still paint it that way anyway. So, look,
even if the future changes, Sav, it doesn't mean that the past behavior, the past lack of ambition, like Daniel Levy is not financially wealthy enough in liquidity to be able to do the things that he might have wanted to do if he wasn't hamstrung by this sustainability model. So he had to go to Joe Lewis and ask for money and never got any. So,
well, sure, that's my point.
The king is dead, but like if he's gone and the Lewis children come in and start putting more money to work, that doesn't mean that they couldn't have done it years ago. It doesn't absolve them.
No, of course. That's my point. But the thing is, fans are fickle, right? So what will happen is if they do change their modus operandi right now, and all of a sudden they do pump money in, people won't care. Do you know what I mean? People won't look back and go, oh, well, see, well, it was Enic and the one. They'll just go, oh, good, they're doing it. They're backing the new chairman, and they're backing that chairman because it's not Levy. But I mean, I get that because we all ask for better. Let's see if they deliver that now. But at the end of the day, the proof is going to be in the pudding, isn't it? The proof is going to be in the pudding. You've got to get to the next transfer window. I don't want to see Archie Grays. I don't want to see Matisse Tells. I don't want to see Bergfowls. No offence. They've now got to show what they mean. But what I would say is different is Vinay is clearly a very good communicator. And I think that what we're seeing out of the club this summer is a lot more transparency. Like they've come out today and nipped it in the bud. No, we're not for sale. Now, obviously, we can have that. I'm sure you boys will debate that later on the Spurs 5. But, they've come out and said, no, we're not for sale. Right? No, we are, the owners are going to back. Oh, by the way, this is who's actually visible in the club. You've got Viv Lewis, you've got Charlie. We've never had that before. And I do think that's good. But all of this means jack shit, Percy, right? All of this means nothing if in the next two windows we're still seeing the same way of operating. None of this means anything. It's a good start from a PR spin. It's nice to hear.
Is it though? I think the PR I personally think that I think that Vinay's video that if you watch it back, like the way it was cut and edited, it looks like in sections when he pivots to the next thing he's saying, you can just see for a split second his eyes are looking at the camera. It's almost like he's gone, okay, I've done that bit. Now go 1, 2, 3, press record. I'll do my next point. I don't think it comes across sincere. I think it comes across like it's a plant. And to me personally, and listen, I'm never really separated Levy from Enic, but right now I feel like there is a wall pulling over the eyes thing going on here. And to your point, Sav, it doesn't matter. Like outcomes are all that matter, right? If Tottenham fans get what they want, if they get Morgan Rodgers in January, all that shit, no one really cares. But it was only a year and a half ago in the previous set of accounts that Daniel Levy said we're looking for investment. We need to expand the equity base. Now that's consistent with the idea of we're not trying to sell the club. We are looking for money. But then today, Vinay's come out and say that the Lewises are going to back the club. Right, sorry, back the club for what they need. So obviously they're still looking for investment, but in the short term, that may mean that they're still looking for something else from one of those people in a 10% injection. But if the Lewises were going to back the club tomorrow, Why didn't they do it yesterday? It looks to me, and if you put everything else in the order in which it's all happened, it looks to me like they're trying to make Levy a fool guy. And even if the sort of separate noise that's going on, that the Lewises and Levys are all still close and very connected, and the son's still on the board of all that bollocks. If all of that is still true, if I'm Daniel Levy, I'm looking at the narrative right now, and I'm thinking, you bastards have thrown me under the bus with the way that this can be spun by people like me that are just putting together the kind of,
Yeah.
all of the things that have happened since March, and it looks like Daniel Levy has been thrown under the bus, in my opinion.
Sean, would you not? The one thing that I think we need to really understand, and we probably won't get the sort of ultimate answer, is the timing of it feels very, very cozy, so to speak. It's very easy to make these changes and talk about stuff after a transfer window, because if they had done this in June, for example, June, early July, Levy's gone, Vinay's come in. And then they're saying, the Lewis family want to make all these positive outlets and aspects. And you go, cool. Let's see now. You got a transfer window to do it. Is it very easy for them to do it now? Because now fans will worry about the transfer window in January. It will come off the minds because football will football and all that lot. And then we get to January and maybe we've all forgotten about it. Some of us won't. But surely the timing's got to be understandable there. Like, it literally 2 days off, was it 2 or 3 days after deadline day closed?
Understandable or questionable?
Questionable, that's what I mean. Like,
questionable for sure. Yeah, it looks super suspicious. It looks super suspicious. Like, to me, like, I'm just putting the way I try to think things through. I think this stinks of something that's being made to look like it's all pretty and fine, and that it's all part of like their intended sort of the game plan. I don't think that's anything like the truth. I just can't understand why Daniel Levy would be on board with the narrative that people from the Telegraph, the Times, and and Sky News and BBC are spinning it. Because if these people are all people that get fed stories by the club throughout the season, and these same people are coming out with stories that are intimating that, the Lewises, that the children have got more ambition than sort of the prior setup, that Daniel Levy wasn't aware until hours before the story broke. Now, I'm sure that whatever they're saying is sort of half truths and then also half clickbait because they're trying to get stories out during, a busy period, and it's all money for that. I get all that stuff. But if Daniel Levy is like a part of the way that this is being represented, to me, it looks like I can't imagine that he would be happy with the way that this story is currently being represented. It's obviously not as clean as they're saying it is to me.
Did you see what Simon Jordan said today? Like he and I like listening to Simon Jordan. He turned around and he said Levy's been very quiet. He said I've got a feeling that he's lawyering up, is what he said. They were his words, that he's lawyering up.
Wow.
And again, he was very clear. He said, "Look, he said everything I'm talking about. This is what I feel with my nose." He said, "This isn't fact. This is what I feel." But he said, it's happened very quickly. He said, and he's gone ultra quiet in the 3 or 4 days since. He's gone very quiet. He said that feels to me that he's lawyering up. But look, I just think it's interesting, isn't it? Because the kids, so to speak, I know we're calling them kids. I think like Charlie and Viv are like in their 60s or something, aren't they? But I think the Lewis kids, I think now more than ever, have got more control of Tottenham, right? I think before there was lots of question marks about, look, how hands-on is Joe Lewis? And then obviously with all that, was it last year with all the stuff in America with the court case? And then all of a sudden it was right, it's the Lewis Trust. It now feels like they're trying to make a fresh break to what Sean's point, I think, is they're trying to make a fresh break, right? But it's, hey, this is us now. And we've got more ambition on the pitch than Daddy, so to speak, right? We've got more ambition than what our dad had. We've got more ambition than what Daniel Levy had. So here's what we're going to do. Here's our new setup. Boom, there's the money. Now, as I said, the fans won't care if that rolls in, but Daniel Levy will care because he could well be sitting at home in a year's time going, well, hang on, when I wanted When I wanted players, I was told I had a wage cap, and I was told I had this. Now, I'm speculating, right? I'm speculating. I don't know, but if Daniel Levy was given a remit, and I've said this all along, I know people think this is flip-flopping. This is just the obvious. Daniel Levy was the chairman, not the owner, right? If he's getting permission and running the club how Mr. Lewis wanted it to be run, then he's done that, right? If the new owner, if now the Lewis kids are turning around to Charrington and to Vinay and saying, yeah, don't worry about that. We're gonna let the purse strings go a little bit. Don't worry about the wage cap. Yeah, we can go to 300 grand a week. We can do 70, 80 million pound transfers. Then that's not Levy's fault, but people won't care because if you didn't want him here, you didn't want him here, right? So, optics.
But the optic, you're absolutely spot on, and the optics have to look like there's a new, like the Emperor is dead, right? Like the Emperor wears new, like the King's dead, long live the King, sort of thing. They have to look like there's something different. But if you're Daniel Levy right now, you are the fall guy in that scenario. And I haven't seen Simon Jordan's video, but it's speaking similar sort of things. What I'm suggesting, I genuinely think that this narrative that Daniel Levy is all fine and everything's fine. I cannot believe, I wouldn't be okay with being the front man for 25 years, and then in the optics of trying to suggest that change is afoot, but it's still ultimately the same owners, that someone's got to take or fall on their sword, and it's all pretty and everyone's cool with it. He's not going to be cool with it. First of all, it's his baby. He's going to see someone else taking it over. And if they do have looser purse strings now, to your point, Sav, I think that Daniel Levy will end up selling. He'll probably end up selling his stake in Enic to the new investor.
100%. I think it's, look, and just to sort of touch on that, it's almost like the Lewis family have gone, do you know what would be good for us right now for PR wise? Get rid of the guy that everyone hates, and then we can go and say, oh my God, we want to be the most successful. And then if they go and start doing that, people go, see, it's all optics, right? They'll go, well, see, it was all Daniel Levy's fault. We gave him what he wanted, but he never did it, blah, blah, blah. But it does come across like very, very...
100 million quid isn't a demonstration of that,
no,
though, is it?
Of course, but we're only led to believe that. I'm talking about like over a period, right? Like we don't know. The 100 mil could be, oh, well, it's 100 mil, but that could get us a couple of players, but in theory, they want to build it even more. Yeah, look, I just think,
Perchy, this is exactly what Simon Jordan was saying today. By the way, people are asking in the chat. By the way, guys, I'm in Turkey. I'm not in outer space. I have seen the Vinay video. I've had 20 people have sent me the Vinay video. It's like I think people feel like there's no internet in Turkey or something. Like I've seen it. It's good. I get alerts. But this is what Jordan was saying, Perchy. He was saying, because he was talking with Keown and with Jim White, and he was going, well, has Daniel Levy failed? Like they were saying, has Daniel Levy failed? And Simon Jordan said, well, to what remit? He said, to what remit? He said, if Daniel, he calls him Daniel, doesn't he? It's his mate, isn't it? He said, if Daniel, was the one making the decisions, that this is the wage cap I'm going to implement. This is the this is the transfer fees that I'm going to implement. Then yes, Daniel has failed, right? Because he didn't kick it on. But if he's taken the directive from Joe Lewis or the Lewis family that these are the numbers and these are the metrics you've got to operate under, then no, he hasn't failed. He's actually done what they've asked. And this is why I think people get frustrated with me lately, Percy. When people say like I'm flip-flopping, I'm just trying to look at things from different angles, right? Did Levy need to go? Yeah, I think he did. Do I think that he needs to be the fall guy for everything? No, I don't. But I don't know. Something feels weird. Not that I'm not complaining, right? But something feels weird how it's all snowballed, and then it was announced 2 days after the transfer window, 3 days after the transfer window.
It was Thursday, wasn't it? And so that would have been 2 days, right? No. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, 3 days, sorry, after the deadline.
3 days after that. Yeah. It just feels a bit, something doesn't feel right. Mate, listen, maybe they thought that Levy couldn't operate at that higher level. Okay, if that's the case, then fine. But does he deserve to get thrown under the bus? Do fans care? Just all questions,
I
mate.
think that's why I throw back on it, and I'll in the sense of, if they didn't think Levy could operate at that level, why do it after a transfer window? That's the bit doesn't make sense. If what you're saying, let's just say for what you're saying is correct, and that they felt that that Daniel Levy wasn't fit for purpose, why would you get rid of him after a transfer window? It doesn't make because if you're going to do that and you want a fresh start, you get rid of. I remember we had the conversation, Savra, when it was it feels like something's changing. That Ange is not getting sacked. He then gets sacked at the end, and then Scott Munn goes, and all of the other lot all go. And now, but Levy's now going after the transfer window. You'd have thought, get rid of him before it, bring in whoever's now the next guy, the guy that's now in charge. And if you want to be starting to show a little bit of ambition and go, okay, we're gonna start buying top players now. Why would you do it 3 days after a transfer window? That's the bit that doesn't sit right with me.
Do you think it could be, just a theory, I don't know this for sure, but do you think it could be that there was a lot of panic at Spurs towards the end of last season when they saw not how close we came to getting relegated, because I don't think that's true. I said all along I didn't think we'd go down, but do you think there was a lot of panic where they realised, shit, we're 17? Like, this is bad. We're 17th. We've got kids. We've got wow. How have we let it get to this? And you think maybe that sprung everybody into action, and that they didn't quite have a plan formulated to sack him after the final, Levy, and then let a new man in charge for a transfer window that was right upon them. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
No, it's a good point to sort of make in that though. But I think the bit for me is the question really is how much did Daniel Levy know that he was going then? Because you could make the argument that maybe he knew before the transfer window, and the transfer window wasn't dealt with by him at all, even though we're hearing reports that he was involved in certain transfers. But then, as I said, it just if what you're, as I said, I'll throw back on what you said was about they thought about all of that. And if that was the case, you don't wait 3 months into a window to go, okay, cool. If we need to change, cool, you're going. Look, we as a football club, and Lewis is say that, let's just say your argument stacks up. They go, cool, and you've got to go. We're not having you at 17th. Scott Munn, you're going as well. Daniel Levy, you're part of the problem as well. You're going, and then we're going to do it now, and we're going to bring in these people are now in charge for this transfer window for the start of next season. I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of spitballing because we don't really know, but it's quite a really interesting conversation on it all.
Sure. Yeah, my gut instinct tells me that he was. It's a difficult one because part of me thinks he's not an idiot, and so all of those things that were put in place from March, April, June, all these people coming in, Donna Maria Cullen being being sidelined, been sent home, all that stuff. I feel like after a while, even if you weren't aware of it at the start and you were convinced by people that you trusted, just in this, in the suggestion that he was sort of sandbagged here, then after a while it would become clear, right? But it's not just that story. Like maybe he was led down the garden path by people that he trusted, saying, "Listen, we're just going to bring in Charrington, right? Because we need to get that investment, and there's roadblocks for whatever reason. So we'll bring him in. But don't worry, he's a non-exec. He's just an advisor. Doesn't have the vote. It's not a problem. He's just here to oversee those things. Don't even worry about it, Daniel." And then he comes in. Then Vinay comes in as a CEO, and they do that joint venture, the very first visible thing that Vinay did, and said, "Look, I'm taking over the football side. Daniel's doing this stuff, but basically, if there's ever a situation where he and I do not agree lockstep on an outcome, then we won't go forward with it." All of that stuff sounds like it was paying lip service towards placating Levy's position being challenged, right? His power, his leverage being under threat. So he's being convinced by people potentially that everything's all good, that there's no problem here. Then suddenly he loses his right-hand woman, Donna Maria Cullen, who always had his back, and she was forced to step down or asked to step down. But, don't forget, she was supposed to step down a year earlier, and then she was asked to stay on for a year. By who? By Daniel Levy. Why? Maybe Levy saw some sort of power struggles emerging and thought, I need someone on the board here who is going to have my back in the same way as I did. She goes, replaced by Vinay, who's then going to vote in the way that he knows his future's best aligned, which is a future that doesn't necessarily have these people in it. And so bit by bit by bit, the kind of the individual amounts of leverage and power that Levy has starts to rescind. But then in the summer, after they appoint Thomas Frank and they get rid of Scott Munn, the next thing to happen was obviously the Gary Neville interview, right, where he says that I'm still very much involved in all of the transfer dealings.
Yeah.
And then with all those 3 or 4 dealings that we had in the summer and the 2 that fell apart, the fallout from it in the media, at least, was that Daniel Levy was the problem, right? He was going back and nickeling and diming on the Eze deal, and that might have worked out well in the end because we got Eze, but at the time we didn't think that. And so consequently, you kind of like, well, was he involved? If he wasn't involved, then all of the stories are nonsense. If he was involved, why would he bother being involved in something and nickeling and diming over a transfer when he wasn't going to be around to see the benefit of it anyway? He wouldn't care if he was being sidelined, right? And so on top of that, he's also sacrificed his £3 million a year salary. And don't forget that a lot of the rumours last year around why it was that these deals with Qatar and everything else fell apart was because he kept insisting that in a future world with an investor, that he was going to be kept on for 5 years in some sort of ongoing advisory role where he was still getting his money. Well, all of that's gone now. And so to me, the story, like if you park, like the only part of the story where this part doesn't make sense is the idea that the Levys and the Lewises have got history together and that they're kind of so interwoven and they're so close that there would never be a situation where there would be any of this kind of nastiness. But if you park that stuff to one side, everything else suggests that Levy has been sandbagged. If you just think about it logically, in my opinion.
Yeah, no. Do you know what? The one thing that will come out of all of this that I think we'll all be getting involved with, if Daniel Levy releases a biography, we are all going to sit and read every page of that, because it'll be. Do you know what? It would be really, really telling to get his side of the story, because I know everyone in the chat they don't like him and whatever, but it'll be really, really interesting to get his side of the story on the Lewises, all of that lot. And he will, let's be fair, if he releases a book, every Tottenham fan will be sitting there reading it, whether you like him or you didn't like him, because it'll be really, really telling.
But the problem is, as I said, in football, in life, truth doesn't really matter depending on your own individual feeling. Right? Do you know? So there will be people now, they don't care about any of this because they didn't want Levy, or there'll be people that really care about this because they wanted to keep Levy.
Sure.
I just think the whole thing's fishy. And the Lewis family, for me, look, I would say they're on thin ice, but they're not. It's their club, right? They own the football club. So at the end of the day, the Lewis family have got to put their money where their mouth is, right? It's all well and good putting Vinay out in front of the camera saying, hey, they're not selling, they're committed, they want to invest. Cool. All right. Well, the only way all of this is going to be sorted out is if we start to see over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 transfer windows that Tottenham act like a big club. And if we do, people won't care. They'll move on. This will all be forgotten, right? That's the nature of the beast. Like, I couldn't tell you what we were streaming about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, there was probably a big old thing like this going on at Spurs.
Is the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium a real draw?
Yes, yeah. But you see my point, right? Like, this is the thing. Anybody that dislikes Levy, now I'm talking about to the points of like a Lubo, the way Lubo dislikes Levy, right? If you're at that level of hate, anything now that the club do will be good, right? Anything the club do now will be good because it's not associated with Daniel Levy. I've had the same stance. I've said this to you guys in the Spurs 5 WhatsApp group, right? I've said this to you guys a number of times. Right? The proof of the pudding is going to be what happens in the future. I can sit and celebrate all I want about, Daniel Levy's gone, he's gone. Great. Until I see change, what does that mean? At the moment, what does it mean? Vinay can talk. Vinay can come out and give us a video every day, guys. That's brilliant. Thanks. Great PR, good comms. Doesn't mean anything. What I want to see is what you're doing in the transfer windows. And I don't know if you guys agree, but isn't that pretty much what this all boils down to? It's not going to boil down to sponsorships, partnerships, boxing. It's going to boil down to what footballers are you buying this club? I don't know if that's just me, but
100%.
that's where I'm at.
100%. What I worry about is that this is a calm before the storm. In as much as I think that they're trying to, as I put lipstick on a pig, pretend like the Lewises now mean business. And then if they're going to only put 100 million quid in, and at the same time they get a stadium naming rights deal or whatever else, that I don't give a shit about Daniel Levy's legacy, whether he's remembered fondly or otherwise. So I couldn't care less about any of that. I just think that some of the fan base will get trapped into this thought process that who used to be unhappy with how it was 2 weeks ago, 2 years ago, 2 decades ago. And then 100 million quid, you buy a worldie in January, but the Lewises maintain control, and you get a one-off big sponsorship deal for like the stadium naming rights, of which the majority of that money will go to like the hotel or whatever else. And then the same problems are going to emerge because the Lewises had their chance for 25 years, and now there's going to be a spin of the narrative. Like, don't worry, like everything's good now. If you didn't like it before, I don't think you should probably. I don't think you'll like it in the future.
Like they're making themselves heroes, Sean. Sean, they're almost making themselves heroes by what they're doing. But if it does turn out that all of this has been Levy playing to the hymn sheet of the Lewises, then they are the guilty party. That's not me absolving Levy of everything he's ever done, but on the main, the thing that everyone got frustrated about, that would still sit at the feet of Enic, who are now coming out of this as the hero. This is almost like what's that syndrome? Is it proxy?
Stockholm syndrome.
What's that? No.
Stockholm syndrome, where you fall in love with your captor. Stockholm
No,
syndrome.
not Stockholm.
You fall in love with your with the people that kidnap you.
No, I was thinking more. What's the other one? Is it Munchen by? Oh, I can't think what it's called. You know when? That girl. Sorry, I'm speaking to the wife here. That girl, Gypsy Rose May, whatever she called. Yeah, anyone know Gypsy Rose May?
Munchausen.
Yeah. Munchausen. Yeah. Munchausen. It's kind of like, they've told you so many times that you're real. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're not, you know what I mean? And unfortunately, Enic. Look, Bobby Andrews has made a great point in the chat. Yeah, Bobby Andrews. He said that the Lewises now, the Lewis family, have opened themselves up to massive criticism if things don't change like that. They have opened themselves up, because what that will do, what that will do is in the next window, if we have a shocker, everyone's going to go, oh, hang on. Well, Levy's gone. We've still had a shocker. Maybe it wasn't him. But equally, they'll go, yes, see, Levy's gone and we've had a great window. So, I don't know, whatever side of the fence you fall on, Levy
going is still probably, obviously, if he's completely left the club, then whoever's going to take on the commercial side of it, which has been our giant cash cow, if you like, then that's going to be a big role to fill, and it's going to be difficult to replicate his success in that. Regardless of whether Enic are in charge or whether someone else comes in, all that stuff will figure itself out. But I definitely think that one of the positives of Daniel Levy abdicating the throne, at least in the initial instance, will be that some of the doors that have been closed, some of the bridges that have been burnt with regards to relationships with other football clubs, it might now be easier under some new regime for Vinay to pick up the phone and say, look, can we talk about a player selling or buying? And that chairman or that whoever it is going to sit there and think, don't usually want to deal with Tottenham, but it's not Tottenham that I had a problem with. It's the exhausting Daniel Levy. If he's out of the way, if someone else is leading that charge, then it should be beneficial, at least for relationships with other clubs. That's a positive with just his absence alone.
Sure, I think it's a good point. I think, do you know what the interesting one is to see how our transfer dealings do manage now. We always have this thing where we feel like we long out every transfer window. Does that carry on, or do we work differently? Does all of a sudden, like, you start seeing us quicker in transfer windows? We're linked with Savio, and by the end of the week, Savio's had an agreed deal and he's on his way to Tottenham. Like, or is it going to be like one of these where it is going to carry on being longed out? Some of them won't immediately work like that, but do you sort of get my point? This sort of narrative on how we operate in transfer windows, will that change? It'll be interesting, all of this stuff.
Yeah, I've got a concern around, like, if you've got a guy that had too much control, too many hands, or two hands on every rein, and he, by his own kind of admission, he was a micromanager, then not only is him stepping away from Tottenham Hotspur entirely, if that's what's happening here, as I say, it's going to be big shoes to fill with regards to the commercial stuff, when most people agree that he is better than the average kind of commercial director. But even in regards like the finalizing of deals, every little thing that a director of football usually does, that they probably don't have full access to the limitless kind of, like the restrictions that are put on the roles of directors of football and scouts and all this stuff at Tottenham is probably stronger than it is elsewhere, because Daniel Levy is a typical micromanager. And so there's probably going to be little micro power vacuums that are going to happen in those departments as well. And it's going to be fascinating, but I don't for a second believe it's not going to be without its teething problems. I think there's going to be
Sean,
in the near term.
Did you hear, I think about 4 times in the interview that Vinay gave today, he really doubled down on talking about empowering the staff. He doubled that. If you notice that, I pick up on things like that. He was like, one thing we're empowering the staff. We're empowering. It's kind of like, are they dropping in these little nuggets to say, well, what that Daniel Levy didn't empower, and he tried, as you said, he had 2 hands on every rein, and now that's not going to happen. But
that's a good thing in principle, Sav. But if you're someone that hasn't had to do that for very often in your time at Tottenham or elsewhere before, all of a sudden you've got a little bit more power, you've got a little bit more responsibility, and sometimes that can go one of 2 ways as well, right? That can bring out the best in people, but it can also either go to their head or it can expose their own inadequacies. So it's not clear how that works out, but it's going to be interesting.
So from what I've seen today, so are we saying then that when Spurs are going and having these big negotiations now, it's going to be Vinay? Is that what we're saying? It's going to be Vinay, not Levy, doing those deals? Because the first one he doesn't get over the line, he's going to get so much shit in it, and it's going to be the Gooner, that Arsenal bloke. You can see it already. This fan base so easily.
When he was at Arsenal, wasn't he also working with Edu?
Yes,
he must have been. Yeah.
Who was doing the negotiations on? Like maybe Edu was bringing the player to the table, whatever, the agent to the table, but who was doing the kind of the dotting of the I's and T's? Was that Vinay or was that Edu?
I don't actually know, but you're right. Edu was there. Edu was the guy that brought the player to the table, and then the club does, whoever the club is the royal group of people that maybe get the deal done. But yeah, Edu was one doing the business in the sense of, I found insert player, he's coming to it.
Yeah, I just think this is going to be really, really interesting, because like it's given so much importance to the January transfer window, more than normal. Like, I don't know about you guys. Normally, whenever I go into a January transfer window, and I know obviously as Spurs YouTubers, it's a bit more, there's a lot more emphasis, but as a fan, I don't really go into the January transfer window thinking, Spurs are going to pull off a £78 million signing. Now, when we get the lead up to January the 1st, right, every fan's going the eyes are going to be on Vinay, Carrington, the Don, if he's back, the Paratici. The eyes are going to be on these guys massively, like overwhelmingly now. Everyone's going to be expecting a Savio and another. Do you know what I mean? It's going to be mental.
I think if the way they want to go down the whole PR route and get everyone on board, you almost think week 1 or 2 into the January transfer window, go and get in a top left winger. Right, I think we could all speak on that notion. Let's just use Savio. It doesn't have to be necessarily Savio, but let's just say go and get. If you have to spend big on a Savio, bring him through the door, and you almost think, okay, people go, okay, things might have changed. Yes, that might just be the PR bit on it, like in a sense, but you almost think that kind of has to happen, right? If they want to build that legacy, I don't really like that word for it, but you know what I mean, that sense of it. Do you not think, guys, that a big name has to come in early on?
Yeah, I do. I also think that other clubs are probably looking at that environment and thinking, how can we take advantage of that particular situation, right? The first monster signing in a post-Levy era. Can we take the piss? Can we, drag it out, draw it out? Can we put pressure? it's mind games, right? And it's like there's going to be lots of shithousery. Perchy, I've got to jump, so I've got to jump. But Perchy, you said in the private chat you want to ask me a quick question.
Oh no, no, it's fine. If someone asked a funny one, and I'll give you 30 seconds to answer. Someone I pinned it went oh, Sean's on as well. I want to ask Sean this question was. If you do get Sean on, ask him this: what is the ETA of Tell balling out? Sean's words, or was he just joking? So, what is the estimated time of arrival for Matisse Tell to ball out?
Well, the fact that he's been dropped from the Champions League squad suggests to me that the pecking order is pretty clear that he's not at the top of it. So he's going to need a load of minutes, isn't he? He's going to need a load of opportunities, which he may or may not get. But I still think that, listen, I think he's a player. I think there's a player in there. Need to get the best out of him. But whether or not that happens this season, I don't know. The computer would probably say no, given those other variables. But look, I hope that within his time at Tottenham, he's going to ball out. But I'm pretty confident that he'll be a baller somewhere, and he'll be far more well received than he currently is by Tottenham fans.
No, 100. I think we all want a player at Tottenham to do well, whether he think he's a right player right now or not. I think we all want that, right?
100%.
Sean,
right, guys, I've got to jump. I'll see you at 8. Everyone, take care.
Redirect's done for you.
Cheers, mate. Bye, guys.
Perchy, I can do 2.5 past. I've got 10 minutes. I've got 10 minutes.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
Can I just mention, off the back of what we were just saying, not about Tell, I do think that everyone's going so overboard about the window we just had, saying it shows how different we're operating. Can I just bring back to the fact that what we've actually done is brought in 2 permanent first-team players and a couple of loans. Like, I do feel like this is getting lost in translation, Perchy. I feel like everyone's making out like we've gone out and bought 5 first-team players. Let's be fair. Colin Mawani was signed on loan on the last day of the window because Dominic Solanke's got an injury.
Sure.
Right? And Paulinho was brought in on loan. Now I've got no problem with using the loans. I've got no problem with that. I'm not knocking it before people call me negative. I think it's brilliant. But I feel like everyone's going, oh my God, look how different the window is because Levy wasn't involved. Was it that different? If you actually look at the money that was spent, if I'm not wrong, Spurs spent, 50 million on Simons, right?
50 on Simmons, 55 on Kudos.
And 5 on Takai. And the rest of the money would have been budgeted for in January.
5 on Takai, 5 for the loan deal for Paulinho as well. And
I'm not.
You know what I mean, yeah.
Yeah. So we were actually looking there at about 120 million, right? So before people are going, see, this is what I mean. But this is what I mean. When we're saying 4 quality signings, 2 of those are on loan, right?
Yeah.
And again, this is the difference. Before people are going on like, oh my God, it's amazing. First of all, I listen, Mawani, I really like Mawani, but that wouldn't have happened if Solanke hadn't got injured, right? And we all know that.
Equally, we know it's not a long-term signing because if we would have fought tooth and nail on deadline day to get a clause in that loan deal, right?
Right. So, look. And I'm not. By the way, I'm not knocking the window. I know a lot of people won't listen to the nuance of what I'm actually saying here, but I don't think that this window was. Where people are saying, "Oh my God, it was massively different," and "Oh my God, 4 first-team players in." Cool. If we had spent 240 million and bought in 4 first-team players, I'd be sitting here agreeing with them. But 2 of them are alone. So, I at the moment, I need to see a window where we operate completely differently. I don't think that we've actually, we didn't break a transfer record in this window or anything like that. We didn't sign loads and loads and loads of first-team starters. What we did was we bring in a couple on loan. I just think that sometimes things get misconstrued very, very easily. Here we go. Bobby's saying, Savo, we apparently bid 50 million for Mateta before Mawani became available. Look, Bobby, the thing for me, by the way, I'm not knocking that signing of Mawani, by the way. I think he's a good player and I'm hoping that he plays through the middle. But my point is this: when you actually look at what we've actually spent this summer, everyone's going on like we've acted really differently, and we haven't, Perchy, have we? I think we spent the same, or if not less than last summer's window.
No, look, I think the key bit for me was on the whole thing about what we've done. Look, the business is good in the sense of they're players that get in, but when we say we've not signed 4 first-team players before, we did that last time. We just signed really bad first-team players under Ange Postecoglou, right? So we did buy 4 first-team players under Ange. Not all of them turned out great. So because it's all hindsight, right? Hindsight's such a beautiful thing. I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will happen. But let's just say Simmons, Kudos, and Paulinho, for argument's sake, don't turn out to how we think they will. We'll be having that conversation in 12 months going, well, that was a crap window. But it's hindsight, right? But in the argument is Simmons comes in and balls out like we expect him to.
Yeah.
Carries on doing
Of course.
Hindsight's such a beautiful thing, right?
Well, let's use the perfect example of hindsight being a beautiful thing, right? Let's all look at the window. We all say now, right? We all go, oh my God, Poch got us to a Champions League final. We didn't back him. Now, I don't know if you remember this window. I remember people losing their mind at signing Ndombele and Lo Celso. I remember people going, oh my God, Ndombele is a baller. This is amazing. Blah, blah. Oh my God, Lo Celso has just scored a bag full of goals for Real Betis. Oh my God, this. Now we look 5 years later going, Core, what a shit window. He wasn't backed. He didn't back the manager. And that's fine, but it's easier to say a window's great when nothing's happened yet to prove otherwise, if you know what I mean. And
sure.
Do you know why I don't rate this window as highly as others? I think the whole point of utilising the loan market is so that you then spend that money you're saving somewhere else. And that is not what we've done. That's what frustrates me. Because if Mawani and Paulinho don't get signed next summer, in essence, all we did was sign 2 first-team starters.
Yeah, 100%. And because the thing is, I think that's the bit though, isn't it? Because the argument is, and the reason why I use the whole thing about when we signed Brennan Johnson, like bear in mind, everyone says, "Oh, signing 4 first-team players." Well, when Ange was appointed, we signed Brennan Johnson, James Maddison, Van der Ven, Kulizeski was signed under him, Vicario,
yeah, of course.
So when we say, "Oh, signing 4 first-team players," well, we did that before. We've done it. We have done it in the past, and it all becomes as it's easy to say it's a great window. It's a great window if in 12 months' time we finished in the top 5 and Simmons has been absolutely phenomenal. Kudos has been phenomenal. Paulinho has been the best DM in the league.
Yeah, Mawani banged in 25 goals in all competitions.
Mawani. So we can look back and go amazing. But and again, the irony is it the opposite happens. Mawani scores 2 goals. Paulinho is out all season. He gets injured all season. Kudos is all, and I'm not saying it will happen, but it's really, really easy to sort of go, it's great now. It's almost this. We do this everyone, right? I think Shaw made a point a while back about Tell and all this lot was at the time when we signed Matisse Tell, everyone was telling me and yourself was what an amazing player. We beat Man United to bring Matisse Tell in. Everyone's fuming that we've got him and no one else has. It's easy to sort of jump back and forward onto.
Of course, we're all guilty of it.
We are all guilty of it, right? I
think we're all guilty of it. But this is why I don't lose my mind. Like, this is why when I look at those windows, people are going, "Oh my God, this is the best window we've ever had." And I'm like, okay, hang on, slow down, slow down. If this was the best window we'd have ever had, we would have sold more footballers, right? We would have bought a left winger. You can't not sign what you need and then say, "Oh my God, this is the greatest window we've had." For me,
sure.
we needed more. For me, we needed more. People say you can't do everything in one window. Well, Arsenal did, Man City did, Chelsea did, Liverpool did. So why? And by the way, of those clubs, let me ask you, of those big clubs, how many of them loan players? There's a good question. Out of Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, and City, how many of them have loaned anyone?
Didn't Arsenal get someone in on loan recently?
Yeah.
Mbappe.
So Arsenal bought, but Hincapi with an obligation.
Oh, sure, fine. Yeah, with an
Right.
obligation.
Right. Okay. So because the word obligation changes everything.
Of course, yeah.
Right. Because that's now that's not a loan. It's a signing.
It, right? They've signed it.
Right.
I'm just trying to think. I don't think anyone else did in the top sort of 5, actually, did they? Chelsea did in Buonanotte, didn't they, on the deadline day?
Sure, right, but
I'm just trying to think.
You get my point, right? Is that
Sure.
the big clubs, if you're going to talk about acting differently, but the big clubs go, what do we need? Right, we need a left winger. Boom, get him in, done, sealed, signed. Boom. What we did was we didn't get the left winger we needed after selling Son. We replaced Maddison with Simon. So, listen, maybe this is the years of being beaten up as a Spurs fan. I'm metaphorically beaten up, right? Maybe this is years of being beaten up like that, right? But would we, the question, and this is, Stell makes a great point on this. I disagree with a lot of what Stell says, but I agree with a lot of what he says. Would Spurs have got Simmons if Maddison hadn't have gone down for the year? Mm-hmm. Right? And would we have got Mawani on the last day if Solanke wasn't going to be out for 2 or 3 months? That apparently that he is. I don't know for sure. So this is why I keep saying I want to see. Show me in January. Show me in the next summer. Show me. Go and. If you want Savio, go and say to City, what do you want? We want 75. Cool. He's our guy. Boom. Done. Then I'll agree.
No, I think the left wing's a good point to move on to. We'll talk about that. I know you've got to go in a second anyway, but the left wing's a great one because I think whether or not when we expected Son to go, I think we all knew through a lot of the paper talk and all that lot, Son made his decision almost at the end of the season, right? That this will be, I've won the cup, now I'm going to go. For me, Tottenham as a football club, I would love to have known when the actual moment was where Son went, I'm going. Because that moment would have happened, right? I think that moment happened before Thomas Frank was appointed. I think the player had already decided that he was going, and it was just about what football club is he going to. If you listen to when Son did his interview when he joined LAFC, he made a point when that there was loads of clubs I spoke to, but this was the team that sold it to me. But we only heard about the links to LAFC for about 2 weeks after we heard that he was leaving. Like 2 weeks after. Well, after he said this was his last game, it was boom, 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 done. For me, they must have known Son was going. And the fact that this is where I get frustrated with the window. I loved all the signings. I actually love every signing that we've made, actually. Apart from Tell, but in the sense of the ones that we actively made in this window. I think Takai, everything about that Takai lad, I think he's going to be something good because I watched a lot of his things. I think he's someone I'm really.
But mate, I don't even mind with Takai because Takai at 5 million, right? For a football club spending 5 million on a player, if it doesn't work, no one's going to care.
Exactly.
Right? If it does work, if it does work, it's the greatest transfer business ever. If it doesn't work, you go, it's 5 million, right? Like the Dele Alli syndrome.
It falls in the Bergvall category, right?
Right, exactly. With the Tell signing, where so many fans are peed off is we've ended the window without replacing Son.
Yes.
Right, whichever way we look at it, you can say, we can chuck Simmons out there, we can do this, right? We ended the window not replacing Son, right? And the left winger that the club did buy at the beginning of the window isn't even wanted by the manager in a Champions League squad. Now, bearing in mind, this is a Champions League squad that, look, I mean, how far down the pecking list would Tell have been if Kulusevski was fully fit, if Maddison was fully fit, right? Now, this is why I've said it's a good window. It's a good window, right? I don't go overboard. You know me. People lose their mind. I said it was a good window. I like the players we brought in. However, if you are going to kick the can down the road with 2 loan signings, you are releasing funds somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It,
By the way, just quickly, this Anathi guy in the chat, like, says I'm being a diva. I think I'm the furthest thing from being a diva. But when he's saying players are not a loaf of bread, you don't just go and get another one when one is finished. That's exactly what you do.
that's how
That's
football clubs operate.
that's squad building, you donut. What are you talking about?
You don't just go and get another one when one is finished. Yeah, you do. Like what? Hang on, what? So if, for example, let's just say hypothetically, and God forbid we don't want it to happen, let's just say Richarlison gets a season-long injury. You don't, like, he gets it a week.
You don't go buy another striker.
You don't go and buy. Like, I'm not being funny. Didn't we literally do that with Kolo Muani?
Oh, mate, it's so funny.
Player got injured in Solanke, got injured for which we think might be 3 to 4 months, and we went and got Kolo Muani on deadline day. That is literally that's mad.
But do you know what? He is right in a way. I'll tell you why he's right. You don't wait for the one to get finished to get another one. You actually have a succession plan. Spurs would have known. I do need to jump in a minute.
Yeah.
Spurs would have known that Son was going, right? Let's play out two scenarios. One, Spurs would have known Son was going. If that scenario is true, then to not bring in a top left winger to replace him is utterly shambolic when they would have known.
Yeah.
Two, Son left this football club about 4.5, 5 weeks ago, right? So that meant Spurs had 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks to replace Son.
Yeah.
4 weeks. Now, I'll ask you this question. Could you imagine Chelsea, right, losing a player of that stature and not replacing him in 4 weeks? Can you imagine Arsenal right now? If Arsenal lost Bukayo Saka next summer, right? Let's use Saka.
Yeah.
If Bukayo Saka leaves to go to Liverpool and he replaces Salah, just hypothetical, right? Do they not replace Saka? Do you think Arsenal go, no, we don't need Saka replacement? It's just mental, mate.
It just, I think that's I think the left wing situation is the one that annoys me, because I sit and go, look, the players we were linked with, by the way, really, really excited, and for me, we can salvage it in the theory that you sign Savio in January. Look, and again, hypotheticals are beautiful game, right? Hypotheticals are beautiful. We could get to January and we can sign them and go, okay, we didn't buy a left winger because we got the guy that we did want. It's a very risky game, that is, though, because if you don't get the guy you want, and let's just say hypothetically we end up getting Ademola Lookman in January, people will sit and go, why didn't we get him in the summer when he was available for 35 million quid? That's the fine lines on being, okay, cool. I don't mind that we've waited to get our guy and we got our guy. But if you don't get our guy, where's the contingency plan?
The problem with that, though, I completely agree with you on one hand, but the problem with this, well, if he's not available, we'll wait. Imagine you did that for every player you wanted in every transfer window,
of course.
right? And this is the difference between being ruthless as a football club and not being ruthless. Yeah. Okay, we can wait for Savio. If we get Savio in January, people could turn around and go, there you go. That's why we didn't bring in a Lookman. Cool. But the bigger clubs would get the Lookman and then go back in for the guy they wanted as well. They'd have 2 of them. This is the level we're talking about. So when people are saying Enic are going to back him, Enic are going to do this, we're going to spend money, it shouldn't be either or. Spurs, Lookman at 35 million quid, right? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
For the squad, that is a no-brainer.
See,
but hey, that's just me.
I think on this point, I know you got to go, but on this point, I will say this is where, if you had the opportunity, this is where, and you'll agree. I know you're going to agree on this because we've had this conversation. Isn't this exactly why a Jack Grealish on loan would have been perfect for both parties? Because you could get him in on loan, and if you can't then get Savio, you've got in Jack Grealish, who on the left wing massively improves us on the left wing. I think that for me, Jack Grealish felt like the one that if you can't go and get your big name, you can get a player like that on loan with an option to buy, for example.
Do you know what? You're bang on, because this is my biggest gripe. it's not just that we didn't sign a top left winger to replace Son. It's that we didn't even, one of the loans we got wasn't even that to kick the can down the road. That's the frustrating thing for me. If, like you said there, if you had gone and got Jack Grealish, just using him for example, if you said, okay, we'll have Jack Grealish for 1 year, right? And then you know what? We've kicked the can down the road. By the way, how many Spurs fans said Jack Grealish is crap? He's finished. The Everton fans, they are waxing lyrical about this guy.
He's carrying him at the moment in the sense of quality. And I'll let you finish your point and I'll touch on that again. Sorry, finish your point. What you were going to say?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if you're going to do that, bring in Jack Grealish, give him a year, and then you go back into next summer's market, and from day one you go after. If it's we use Savio as the example, if that's the guy you want, you go in day one of the transfer window opening, not waiting until July, not waiting until August. You go in, have them ready. That's what I want to see next summer.
Yeah,
that's what I want to see next summer. None of this, like, bring in Mawani on loan on the last day of the window, right? Brilliant bit of opportunistic business, but let's be fair, we did it because we got an injury. Would we be bringing in Kolo Mawani on the last day of the window, right? If Dominic Solanke hadn't have been injured, I don't think we're that club that would have. So we'll see.
No, 100%. Look, I think the key bit is, I'm going to make a real bold statement. I think Jack Grealish at Everton potentially sneaks them into Europe this season. I genuinely think, quality-wise, I tell you what, you don't want, if you're a fullback, if you're a right back this season, you don't want to be playing against Jack Grealish. If you're Pedro Porro against Jack Grealish, you're sitting there going, I've got something to worry about here. I genuinely think they could sneak in here. He's a sort of level, and here's the question. I was listening to, I want to say it was Rory. I want to say it was Rory Jennings, and he had what was his name? I can't remember the lad he has on there a lot of the time. He's is it Adeola Depot? Is that his name? They're on Talk Sport together.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah, I know who you mean.
They were on his channel and they were doing their revised finishing, and I don't always agree with a lot of Rory Jennings says, and a lot of it, I think a lot of it is clickbait, but he made a really good point. He said, imagine if you're Everton right now and Jack Grealish is performing at the level he is from right now, and they get to January and they go, guys, look, we go and get in a decent striker here, we could get ourselves into Europe. And then they go and sign. It does insert name, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who. Insert a name that goes in. Let's just use Mateta as the example. It doesn't have to be him. But
Yeah. I get it.
And they go, a goal scorer now that gets us 15 goals up until the end of the season now could sneak us from finishing 10th to finishing us in 7th or 8th, and we could get ourselves back into Europe. And I think what I liked about Everton at the moment is at least they're giving it a go, right? I know this isn't waxing lyrical about Everton, but I think Jack Grealish is a revelation for them, and it's in a way it's the perfect team from there. There's no real level of expectation, but he can kind of be when he was at Aston Villa sort of times.
Yeah. Listen, listen. By the way, Anathy, you don't have anything to apologise about. I just don't think anyone's complaining. I feel like you've got to remember that football content creators have to have discussion, right? And every discussion, you're going to have back and forth. Some people are going to say different things. And the problem is the moment someone says something that someone like you doesn't like, it's complaining. It's not complaining. I just see things differently to you. Yeah. So, listen, I need to go. I really do need to go. But look, all I would say is this. I listen. I gave the window a 7 out of 10. Right? I gave it a 7. Nothing amazing. I thought it was good. It was a good window. I didn't think we did. I didn't think that we particularly did what we needed to. I think everyone. What am I trying to say? I think that the levels have been so low for so long that when we do have a good window, everyone goes from there to there. They elevate it because we're not used to this. This is what most football clubs of this level do every summer, right? For me, I think it's going to come back to bite us on the backside, not getting a proper left-sided player. Because all season now, every time someone picks a team, what are they going to do? They're going to go Kudus right, Mawani through the middle, Simon's in the 10, and this week Odegaard, this week Johnson, this week Tell. I think that lack of quality on the left could really be an issue for us, mate. I really do. I've said it all summer. I've not changed my mind on it. I don't think Odegaard and Tell are good enough for Tottenham Hotspur. I've said that all along. People can tell me all they want about there's a player in Tell. I don't see it. Frank clearly doesn't see it.
Yeah.
We've got no natural left-sided winger at the football club, and Matisse Tell, who is one, can't make the Champions League squad.
Yeah, and he's shoehorning a right winger in a left wing. Tells you what our left winging qualities are like, right? Now, I mean,
Right.
isn't that the thing, right? We're shoehorning a right winger into left wing because we've got Odegaard can't start a game for love nor money. Tell doesn't even get in the squad. He hardly plays. Who else have you got? Like, and isn't that the worry, right?
Mate, absolutely. Look, for me, I think that when Spurs bought Odegaard, right, there was no need to then go and get Tell and Yang, right? I think we all know why we got Yang, right? When we did that, right, what makes you laugh even more is Spurs this window sent Werner back from loan, right? These are all left wingers, by the way. Werner on loan. Brian Hill, who's the left winger, has left to go to Girona. Solomon, who's the left winger, has gone to Villarreal on loan. Son has been sold to LAFC. Tell is not even in the Champions League squad. Yeah. And yet, one position on the pitch we did not buy this summer, a left winger. It blows my mind. And look, I'll leave it there. I'm going to go. Do me a favour. Can you just kick me out? Because on my screen, I think if I press the end button, it ends the show.
I'll boot you out. If you
boot me out. Everybody, thank you, Perchy. Thanks for doing this for me. I really appreciate that, guys and girls. Show some love. I tell you what, I've not seen many likes. I've seen no super chats and hardly any subscribers. Show some love. Perchy's taking time out his days to do me a favour on this one. So please, come on, let's ramp those up, please. Much love.
Enjoy your evening, whatever you're getting up to tonight.
I will, mate. By the way, everyone, I'll be back live Thursday morning. From London. But much love. Enjoy the Spurs 5. I'm sure Perchy's redirecting. Yeah. And Perchy, just kick me out right now. Kick me.
Bye-bye.
Kick me.
Sav has gone. I think he's gone. Has he gone? Yes, Sav has gone. Guys, look, we've got 15 minutes. We've got 15 more minutes left. Now I'm going to redirect you over to the Spurs 5. Guys, get some questions in. I think makes a good point about it. Like the fact that we didn't go and get in a left wing. I think that is one of the big negatives for me on the window. And as I said, it all becomes hindsight. I always use the word hindsight is a beautiful thing, because if we do in the first week of January bring Savio over the door, you go, okay, cool, I understand why I've waited. But if we don't, and then we're sat there going, okay, we need to get in a left winger. Who, guys in the chat, I want you to do now is, who would you guys play at left wing this season? Bear in mind, Tell's not been picked. Looks like it's going to be Brennan Johnson. But if you guys are in charge, who are you putting at left wing? Look, if you want to be creative, maybe you move Kolo Muani to left wing and maybe play Richarlison up top. Be a bit creative. I'd like to know your thoughts. Explain it as well. If you're going to be creative, explain why. Like, that'll be interesting. Big up Angus, my man. Why would Kane come back to Tottenham, though? Look, I think Harry Kane coming back to Tottenham, for me personally, I mentioned it earlier on in this show. I could see it happening if the new, I say new owners, they're not new owners, but if, for example, the Lewis lot want to make a big name, they go, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to bring Harry back. We will make it at the end of his contract. We will bring him back. I don't think it happens personally, Angus. I think he'll go to the MLS after his at the end of it. But it'll be interesting. Where he could go? I see you just putting it. Could go to Barca. That'd be interesting. Let's see what you guys say. I'll be interested to see. Let's see. Bodrick has Jed Spence at left wing. Not really. I wouldn't put him on the left wing. For me, you need him more defensively, personally. Solomon on loan. Yeah, Solomon's on loan, mate. I think someone put in there. He's gone to Villarreal. He will be playing against us next week, is it? Or the week after? When do we play Villarreal in the Champions League? Kane come back because Bayern would get. Yeah, look, if Kane comes back, it will be getting Kane in his very much his peak, not a peak, sorry, in his prime at the end of his career. Like he'll be very much only. It'll be. I think if he comes back, it'll be more sentimental. I think you've got to go and find the next one. If I have him back, no, not. If I would, so if he was offered back, I'd take it. If the opportunity was the right opportunity, not for sentimentality. Simon Cummins says play a Dogie out on that left. Again, I just don't. I'm not sure with the Dogie. I don't think he's able on that. Interesting though. I like it. It's a little bit creative. I like a bit of creativity. Odeber, I just don't think he's that good. I stand by thinking it'll be Brennan Johnson. That's for me. I still don't think Brennan Johnson's that good. But at least with Brennan Johnson, he is creative. He's enough to nab a goal, and he offers something, right? But big up, Siggy Helgeson. Remember, the surname reminds me of Ida Helgeson. He's played for Watford. Such a random fact. Perchy, would you give Adogi a try on the left wing? Would it be worth trying it better than attack it? He is, but again, is he good enough in the sense of getting those balls in the box? Interesting. I like the thinking. Just not for me. I think at the moment he needs to be chipping in with much more assists and goals before you start considering it. But I like the thinking. Out of the box. I think we can do without an actual winger until January. We have Mawani, Simmons, and Richarlison. For me, Simmons, I wouldn't be shoehorning Xavi Simmons into that left wing right now. For me, he's the one that you put in at your 10 and keep him there. Mawani, I mean, I don't mind it, but again, he's another one where I go, you brought him in as a striker. Surely you've got to play him in the 9. Richarlison, yeah, sure. I'm not against. Look, if Richarlison shoehorn Richarlison on the left wing, I'm not against that, I guess. Adogi left back, Spence left wing, but Odeberg could do a job. Again, I just don't think Jed Spence. You want Jed Spence in that more attacking role, personally. Just my thoughts, opinions on that. Big up Jeff. If Solanke doesn't get injured, we sign a left winger. Don't think it was the case. I think we were very much sold on getting in Savio, and that's how it looked for me. And Savio wasn't budging. Big up Paul saying would love Kane back for a year. Sure. For me, is that only because of sentimentality, or is that because of you think he will be the missing piece to win us X, Y, and Z? Food for thought. Food for thought. Another one saying a Dogie on the left wing. Whole Spurs just on Gareth Bale. I mean, he's been retired for a bit now. I'd have him left wing on the golf course at the moment, though. I'm, by the way, seeing him on Wednesday. I'm going to be seeing Gareth Bale on Wednesday because I'm going to Wentworth for the PGA Pro-Am, and Gareth Bale is going to be there. So it'll be interesting. I'll try and see if I can get an interview with Gareth Bale on the for the channel. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? But yeah, no, Gareth Bale definitely not for me. One is comfortable off the left. He is, but why would you want to shoehorn him in on the left for the sake of it, right? But big. Oh, yes, he is Icelandic, isn't he? Brilliant. Big up, Siggy. Sure, it's Archie Gray. Yeah, full damn well Lubo will be begging him to be at left wing. Gyökeres looks mid, by the way. Nah, I just don't. Not for me. I think Gyökeres, whether or not he looks mid for Sweden, I think he's a top striker for me. I'm not going to be one of those. I think he's a top striker. Colomani starting the left versus the Hammers. Richarlison won't be dropped. Market. That's look. Again, I'm not against it. For me, I think you've got to play. I would have him the other way round. For me, I'd put him the other way round. I'd put Richarlison out on the left and put Marnie up top. That's just my thinking. But I'm not against it. I'm not against it. I think Richarlison works hard. Isak's on the bench. Cheers. Thank you very much. Oh, of course. Of course. Kane at 34 would be our best striker. My question would be is what does the football club look for at that moment, right? I think that's the key bit. You can bring in Harry Kane for a couple of years at 34, but is it because of sentimentality, or is it because, okay, we now need a world-class goal scorer to win us the league? That's the question mark. I wouldn't bring him back unless we're at that position. I think if we're not at that position where you're going, okay, we need a 30-goal scorer to win us the league, then you go and get him. Again, interesting. We'll see. We'll see. Arsenal trolls in it. Then who do you? Oh, we you gotta love the Arsenal trolls. I'm mad we didn't get for. I would have loved Adam Ola. Yes, and Lando Norris. Lando Norris. I think John Terry's there as well. And Andy Murray's another one. Yes, Suze, we're gonna have a great time. Suze, we're gonna have a great time. I'm actually really excited to go and watch it. First time watch the golf. I think we should try 3-4-3. Simmons on the left. Mawani is a striker. Look, Archer, I think it works. I just think we haven't really seen that apart from when we played against that back five, if you want to call it a back five or a back three against PSG. So look, I could see that working. You have Simmons and Kudus a bit more narrower than actual natural left wingers, playing the Jed Spence out on that right, also on the left, with Porro on the right. I like the thinking. I'm liking it. Out, as I said, thinking outside of the box. I like it. Angus, you are a troll, but you're respectful. Big up, man. A lot of respect. Big up to you, my man. You know why. I don't think we should go for Kane again. We need to see where the squad is after a year. Also, who says he's going to come back anyway? Roy, I think this is the point, right, for me. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. For me, right now, we shouldn't be worrying about getting Harry Kane back. I think we should be worrying about, okay, how are we playing? Have we got what we need? Does Harry Kane for 2 years work for what we need right now? He might do. And by the way, I'm not against signing Harry Kane. For me, I just think we need to be we just need to be more sensible in it. I don't want us to sign Harry Kane because we're trying to be sentimental. If we're signing Harry Kane, we're signing because he's there to win us the league, right? Wild Spader said, depends on how season goes. If Frank overperforms again, we need a younger striker. I don't think it's about getting us a younger striker. I don't think age is relevant in this. I think I know I get where you're coming from. For me, I don't think it's relevant in that philosophy. I just think we need to go and get in a striker that we go, okay, you're now the man. For example, and we used it earlier in the show, Alexander Isak when he was at Sociedad. We need to be getting that striker, the striker that we think is going to become the next best striker. Go and get him in, become our number 9, and we're getting excited again. And I think that's the key bit. Look, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. We've had 229. Can we get 250 likes? That is literally what's that? 21 likes. Can we get 21 likes now? I'm gonna redirect. I'm going to redirect you over to the Spurs 5. They're going to go live in a couple of minutes. Can we get a few more likes on the way out? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this show. Next Monday, back to order. Sava's back on Thursday. So back to order for the podcast on Monday. Go and enjoy the Spurs 5. Go and enjoy the show. Go and send over saying Perchy raid now. I want everyone over there. Purchase right now. Thanks so much, guys. On that note, I'm going to leave you. Have an amazing evening. Peace out. 10 more likes. Peace out, guys. Ciao. Bye-bye.